Hello and welcome back to the Low High Podcast. I'm 0.5 of your host, Marcello.
And I'm the other 0.5 seller, and together we come together to make one half-decent host. Today on the Low High Podcast, we're going to talk about something pretty serious. Something important. Something that brings us all together. Something that's been in the zeitgeist of mankind ever since society's inception. Today,
we're talking about bread. So what about bread makes it such a cultural phenomenon experience?
Because I think about it, everybody came up with bread.
Everyone.
Is there like any culture in the world that you know of that doesn't have their own kind of bread, a special kind of bread in general?
No, I actually don't know I can't think of one.
Because I was in the bread aisle of Stop and Shop the other day, getting my groceries. And I stopped and I really thought about it because I was at one end of the bread aisle looking at the other. And I just thought to myself, God damn, that's a lot of bread.
Bro, there's so many types of bread. Well, let's just even start with let's start with the grocery aisle, the bread aisle.
The bread aisle.
You got your wheat bread, your Wonder Bread, which is a terrible bread. You got potato bread. You got multigrain.
There's Dave's Killer Bread.
Dave's Killer Bread is freaking good.
There's tortillas. Tortillas count as bread, right?
Tortilla? I mean, yeah, I would say, a soft shell tortilla soft tortilla for sure.
There's like that Lebanese bread. What do they call it?
I don't know. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Portuguese rolls. It's the international. It brings us all together. Like unless you're gluten, and there's gluten-free bread. Boom.
There's bread for people who can't even eat bread. Yeah. That's insane.
Literally bread for everyone. Even breadfruit. There's a fruit named after bread.
What?
Breadfruit. Yeah. It's actually really good. It's like delicious, especially if you boil it.
There's also bread pudding. I don't know what bread pudding is.
Bread pudding is mad good. Use bread and stuffing. It's like, man, we're just fans of bread at the Low High Podcast.
We are big fans of bread. Thanksgiving is coming up. I still don't know what stuffing is.
Wait, what do you mean?
I think I've had stuffing at one Thanksgiving ever, and it came as like a separate thing. Okay. I always thought the whole idea of stuffing is that you were actually supposed to like stuff it into the turkey and then pull it out and eat it. And I just always wondered why. Why did they I'm legitimately confused about it. What's the point of putting something you could just make by itself, just eat by itself, putting it in the turkey while the turkey isn't cooked? And then you pull it out and eat it? That seems kind of weird.
It is. Actually, once you said it's weird. I've never eaten stuffing in a turkey. It's always been like separate. It's like stuffing on the side.
Same.
Yeah, I guess I've never had true stuffing. It's never stuffed anything.
Imagine that first guy during Thanksgiving. They're walking into his kitchen, just see him shoveling bread and other miscellaneous bits inside the turkey. They must have been so confused.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if it's like to keep the inside of the turkey from overcooking. I don't know. But like, why would you put it inside it? Like, you clean the turkey out and you're like, I'm gonna keep its ribs, I'm gonna keep this thing intact, and then I'm gonna like stuff it. I'm gonna fist this turkey. And then it became a holiday.
Bro. And then it became a holiday. Oh my god. And I can't even imagine it because we had an air fried turkey once. And this was 2 Thanksgivings ago or 3. I'm in Philadelphia with my family, staying at my aunt's place. And I decide to start putting the stuffing inside of the air fried turkey. And then my aunt's giving me the weirdest look, like, Sally, what are you doing? And I'm like, are we not supposed to? It's called stuffing. Where do you stuff it in besides like your mouth? But like, the whole point of stuffing is that it's bread. And bread is they serve bread and stuffing at the Thanksgiving table. That shows you how deep bread is.
Bro, bread goes deep. Bread goes deep. And also Thanksgiving is like the one holiday in America that everyone celebrates, which is interesting.
I think it's because of the excessive eating in the family time.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a great holiday. It's one of my favorites.
Sure. See, my last Thanksgiving, I was mad annoyed because I spent it at my brother's place. And I woke up the next day so hyped to eat those Thanksgiving leftovers. Like, the Thanksgiving leftover sandwich is an institution. If you haven't done that, you're not living your best life. Go argue with your mom. So I wake up, ready to slap this sandwich together. It's me, my brother, and two of my brother's friends who were staying with us at the time. I walk out of the room to see them just standing in front of the fridge, looking super disappointed. Like, they're all like, yo, where's all the food? And And I'm like, where's all the food? Because I went to bed, and there was still a bunch of food, and I woke up and it was all gone. That's the worst thing you can do. Go to somebody's Thanksgiving party and take all of their food.
Wait, what happened to it though? I feel like there's a lot of leftovers for Thanksgiving.
They either like ate it all or took it home, bro. Nigerians be hungry.
Oh man, I can't imagine that.
Man. And like it must taste extra good too when they woke up the next day and ate it because they were Thanksgiving leftovers they didn't have to work for.
Oh damn.
So
that's a tragedy.
I felt so disrespected.
They took your bread, man. They obtained your grain.
4 grown-ass men sitting at a kitchen table, sad that they don't have any cold turkey to eat. I don't know, man. But anyway, bread. I was looking up bread recently, and I found out that farmers make around 5 cents for every loaf of bread they're sold with their grains to make. And I'm just thinking that back in the day, do you know how hard you had to work to get bread?
Yeah.
Because, like, okay, this is what will probably happen. You're like, oh, I'm finna get some bread, but then you gotta go to the field. You gotta get the grains for them bread. You gotta do whatever it takes to make the dough. Consider this is like medieval times. There's no electricity. Yeah. There's no Uber Eats. There's no malls. You can't go buy bread or have somebody make your bread for you.
You gotta let your bread rise.
Yeah, or maybe you have to go to haggle with the local baker. And you're like, yo, can you give me like a couple slices of Italian bread? He's like, I don't know. Can you give me your 13-year-old daughter's hand in marriage? Because that's just how niggas was operating back.
It's like, bro, for a loaf of bread, I need at least 3.
Bro, at least 3? How could you say that? No, anyway. And like the only alternative was to make your own bread, and you have to go crush a bunch of stuff with rocks, and then you have to go cook it in an oven that's also made of rocks. And if you fuck up the bread, there's literally nothing you can do about it. Because your feudal lord decided, okay, I'm gonna cut the village's grain rations in half because somebody said, maybe we can slightly improve society, so I'm punishing you for it.
Bro, anything back in the day. Because now, bro, you have so many options with bread. Bread's so good. English muffins.
Bro, sliced bread. Nah, what I liked to do growing up was there was this one place when I was in primary school that they'd sell like the unsliced loaves of bread. And I remember that really blowing my mind because at some point I had been exposed exclusively to sliced bread. Okay. So seeing non-sliced bread really like threw me through a loop for a little bit because I was just thinking, how did they slice it so perfectly too? Well, obviously they use like a machine or something.
Yeah, I think sliced bread. I actually like non-sliced bread because you get to slice it yourself, and it's like you can make it nice and thick if you want.
When I was in boarding school, right, I had somebody smuggle me in like a loaf of like unsliced bread and some butter, so I hid it in the bottom of my locker. And then literally sometimes when other people are outside or I'm just like it's after lights out, I literally just go to my locker, just rip off some of this bread, just butter it. And sometimes I'd heat it up with an iron too, like make toast. That's one of the most ratchet things we did in boarding school because we weren't allowed to have like toasters or forks or any shit. So this is what we'd do. We'd go to our notebooks, we'd get some paper, we'd tear the paper up, we'd butter some bread, put something in between it if we got lucky enough or something to put in between the bread. Usually we didn't, maybe some sardines, some cheese if you got really lucky, maybe some spices. So what we would do, right, is that we'd get that, we'd slather it all on the bread, we put the bread in between the 2 pieces of paper, you'd set your iron to the highest heat, they just slam that shit down. No, that shit always kills me, like whenever, because sometimes I just like, there's like a general ironing area, I had like a bunch of ironing boards. Yeah. Sometimes I just there's like maybe 2-3 times I just walk out there, see somebody just ironing their sandwich, like, hey, how far? Like, hey, how far? And you don't even question it because you know the bread goes that deep.
Damn. Ironing your bread.
Ironing your bread.
Do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. Bro, let me think. What's the best bread you ever had? Like, what's like a bread you're really a fan of?
Hawaiian sweet rolls.
Oh my god.
To anybody hearing this out in the world, Hawaiian sweet rolls are perhaps the most elite bread you can ever encounter. There's a sandwich. I will not be giving out the recipe for this sandwich, but there's a sandwich I try to eat only 3 to 4 times a year. and it's the Hawaiian sweet rolls that make that sandwich. Literally, you don't even need to do anything with them. You can just buy some Hawaiian sweet rolls, eat them bitches straight out of the box. But what you really need to do, the real big brain shit with Hawaiian sweet rolls is that you gotta heat them up in the oven.
Oh.
When you do that, trust me, your entire life change. Your entire life will change. Literally, everybody's celebrating Thanksgiving. If your local supermarket still has them because people love them, go buy some Hawaiian sweet rolls. Put them on your Thanksgiving spread. Trust me. You will not regret it.
It's just gonna make the meal so much better. It totally does.
Bro,
put a little
100%.
bit of butter on that, put it in the oven, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
It literally changes the entire game, no cap.
Changes the entire complexity of your life. You'll never look at bread the same.
No, bro, I literally I cannot picture a future where I do not eat Hawaiian sweet rolls. It doesn't make sense to me.
After you have it, you're just gonna go into a bread depression.
I bought the guys who make. I remember in our first episode, I said Twinkies were good. I'd like to take back that statement because I had some Twinkies recently, and honestly, that was not it. Real talk. But above the Twinkies, I had the people who make the Twinkies, Hostess. I had some of their bread too. It's so bad. It's terrible.
They make bread?
They make bread. I have half of the loaf is still down there in my kitchen. It's been untouched for like a month and a half because it's so bad. I really didn't think you could mess up bread, but they pulled it off.
You can mess up bread. And like ironically, I think one of the people who mess up bread are like Florentines, people in Italy. Because their bread's mad good, it's delicious, they just don't salt it. So that shit is flavorless and it tastes dry. But I get it because you pour some olive oil, put some like salt and pepper on it, you dip your bread. It makes up for it, but like
I've never understood that concept, just pouring olive oil on my bread.
Yeah, well, as an Italian, I do that shit quite often.
Why? Does it really be hitting? And do you just pour it on regular bread, or does it have to be like toasted bread or kind of crunchy bread?
So I'm definitely a fan. I prefer some crunchy bread.
Word, same.
But yeah, it's like a dip. It's like I would say it's the Italian equivalent of like chips and salsa.
Oh, okay. I'll have to try that out. But you know who really changed the game with bread? Whoever it was that invented garlic bread. Dude. You went, whoever it was, if you're dead, from the afterlife, I just want you to know you went absolutely stupid with that shit. It's immaculate.
The world.
Some places, some restaurants I've been to, the garlic bread is just better than the food.
Oh my god. Dude, a good garlic bread and garlic knots, man. Oh my god.
Man, I've only had bad garlic knots once, and I was so disappointed.
Bro, that's actually tragic.
All the flavor was on the outside, like on the inside, bread just tasted plain, like something a European peasant would eat. Like, it was incredibly depressing.
See, man, because when you look at garlic bread or garlic knots, you're expecting it to be so good because it's never been bad. Until you had that fateful garlic bread encounter.
Imagine creating a food that just immediately sets people's expectations high. That's garlic bread.
This guy did it, or this girl, this person.
Yes. Also, banana bread. I haven't had banana bread in years though, but I remember when I was a kid, my dad would come back from business trips and stuff, and he'd bring us this loaf of banana bread.
So good.
Oh, bro, banana bread is so good.
Banana bread is crazy. That shit is bananas, and now I'm gonna go kill myself for saying that. I'm sorry.
Bro, the podcast is over. That was terrible.
No, that is actually though, banana bread is crazy delicious.
Oh no, banana bread goes hard, for sure.
I have a banana bread story. So my family likes to shop at Restaurant Depot because it's like you get everything in bulk and it's a lot cheaper. We stopped shopping there because when I say bulk, I mean like bulk is your only option. You know, like it's like Costco on crack. So like we wanted bananas because it's so affordable, and we actually had to buy a full crate of bananas. Like a crate of bananas, bro. So there was at least, like the little bundles of bananas, there was at least 8 of those. There's no way you can eat that many bananas. Like, no sane family, bro, can eat that many bananas before they go bad.
Word.
So we had like 4 leftover bundles, and they were super brown. So we're like, okay, that's it. Let's just make banana bread. So we went back to Restaurant Depot, got the rest of the stuff you need to make banana bread. We spent I went to my friend's house. It was like 8 hours. Actually just baking, but like we were a banana bread production house.
What a concept though, banana bread. Who was the first person to stand up and he looked at some bread and he looked at a banana and like he thought about it and he said to himself, I might have just done something. Who really woke up and decided, nah, I have to put the essence of banana into this loaf of bread? Essence of banana. That's another thing. All these products that say they have the essence of something. What does that mean? Did you perform an arcane ritual and transfer the soul of this banana into some bread? What are you even on about, honestly?
The essence of a banana in bread. Banana bread.
Do you ever have those random moments where you just toast some bread and you butter it and then you eat it and it's just like, this is the peak of food and it just doesn't even make any sense?
I honestly, the amount of like, if I have rolls or whatever, I'll eat straight bread. Straight bread's so good.
Same.
Straight bread's so good. It doesn't even need to be a Hawaiian sweet roll, bro. Like, I'll straight up just eat that bread.
No, when it's crazy. My mom, she knew that my brother and I, we both loved bread growing up. So whenever we were both coming back from boarding school, this one market, I can't remember what it was called. This place called Grand Square. They made this particular bread called Grand Loaf, bro. To this day, besides Hawaiian sweet rolls, no bread can touch Grand Loaf bread.
What's in Grand Loaf bread? What makes it so special?
I do not know. And bro, it's made in Nigeria, so I'm not gonna question it. Because maybe if I find out the truth, I might get sad. So no, let me have this. Literally, my mom always would buy like at least 2 loaves whenever me and my brother were coming back from school. And those loaves usually didn't last a day.
Dude, that's awesome.
I ate so much bread during quarantine over the summer too. Literally just wake up, look around the kitchen, and you know, this is the thing, sometimes I wake up early in the morning because sometimes I like to think I'm an adult, but I'm not. And I wake up, you know, not time to have a nice adult breakfast. And I just stand there in the kitchen. I've opened the fridge 5 separate times. I've decided I don't want to eat cereal, but I decided I don't want to cook anything either. And I just look to my bread. I was gonna say look to my left, but I just look to my bread. I look to my bread,
and it looks back at you.
And it looks back at me.
Deep in his soul.
Like I look at my bread looks at me, and we're both just like, we already know what it is. So I just sit down and eat maybe a loaf of bread.
Oh, but it's so good. My favorite breakfast bread thing, so like matzah is unleavened bread. Matzah's awesome. And then you can actually make this thing called matzah brai, which is like egg bread breakfast. Does not get better than that shit, bro. Matzah brai is so good. Matzah's really good. Matzah ball soup, it all comes from bread.
Oh, word. See, I know people take bread seriously because there's so many bread holidays.
You have to.
We were looking it up earlier. I found at least 5 bread holidays in the US alone. February 23rd, National Banana Bread Day. Shout out banana bread. April 1st, National Sourdough Bread Day. Okay. September 16th, National Cinnamon Raisin Bread.
Cinnamon raisin bread is pretty good.
Anything with raisins in it, I don't want making contact with my mouth.
Yeah, see? Some people like you are like that, but I think raisin bread is fucking smack. Raisins can make touch my mouth.
Right. I remember the worst thing is as a kid, they'll give you cookies and you think there's chocolates in it, but it's fucking raisins. Disgusted, angry, betrayed, all those feelings. These are adult feelings that I couldn't even name at the time. But I'm like 6 years old looking at this cinnamon raisin cookie and experiencing all
Betrayal.
of them. December 22nd is National Date Nut Bread Day. What?
Nut bread. That sounds unappetizing.
How would that even work?
You could do like almond flour. I'm sure you can make bread out of it, but
okay, so like that's not for me, but that's how deep bread is, ladies and gentlemen. You can make bread out of whatever. Nut bread, bread. Okay, also now that we're on the topic of weird bread kind things, can you please explain to me what the fuck meatloaf is? Because I do not understand meatloaf at all.
To be honest, I'm pretty sure meatloaf. Somebody was just like, "Oh, yo, I have all this meat, and I'm gonna turn it into meat bread." Like that's what it is. It's a loaf of just nasty meat, and it's so bad. I never liked meatloaf. I never will like meatloaf.
I remember I tried meatloaf once. Was it like a buffet or something? Terrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
It's
Vile.
always a mistake. Always a mistake.
And we always see it on TV. Oh, like, oh, my mom makes the best meatloaf. I can't imagine that. How could your life be so sad that meatloaf is what you've got to look forward to, man?
Every day, I just want this big loaf. This loaf of meat.
This absolute unit. This
Meat.
massive meat log. Why?
Dude, okay, so you know how like there's imitation meat, you know, for vegetarians, vegans, or whatever?
Don't tell me there's imitation meatloaf, please.
There's definitely imitation meatloaf. I'm sure it's a thing. That's sad. But what I've mostly become recently disturbed is since it's like this meat company started making imitation vegetables. So they have meat carrots now that look like carrots and it's actually just made out of meat. They like reverse Uno'd the whole vegan industry. It's so disturbing. Look at these pictures, bro. It's disturbing.
Bro, pull up a picture of this. I need to see it.
I'm gonna here. You want to see it?
Meat.
I wonder why too. I really do wonder why anyone would want to do
carrots.
Straight up.
What? That's.
It's actually.
Wait. Arby's? I knew they'd be responsible for some bullshit like this. So I've never eaten at Arby's. But
Arby's is good.
Really?
Arby's is back in the day, like Arby's was one of my favorite fast food places to go to.
Really? Because I've spent years watching Arby's commercials, but
They have the meats.
They have the meats. But the whole it's never occurred to me. Like, you know how sometimes at 4 a.m. something moves your soul and you look up and you're like, hey, you know what? Some McDonald's would hit right now. I've never had that feeling for Arby's at any time of the day.
Yeah, nah. It's definitely like there's an Arby's here. I should eat there.
See, because their whole thing is like roast beef sandwiches, right? I had a combo sandwich from the deli that had roast beef in it, and I was like, why do people eat this?
You don't like roast beef?
I really don't care for it.
Alright.
Because I like my beef to be seasoned. I like my food to have flavor.
See, bro, you're coming in with an advantage. What? So, like, in America, like, not like you haven't been to America, but like, bro, when we grow up, like, we actually don't understand that there's this thing called spices, right? It's like, we have salt, we have pepper, and mayonnaise.
Oh, man. I thought you were going to say, like, paprika or something.
No,
mayonnaise?
not even paprika. And then, like, someone puts paprika on stuff, and you're like, whoa! Your white people taste buds just explode. They overload with shit.
Oh, man.
So, like, I totally understand what you're saying, where you'd rather have your meat seasoned. Like, people, dude, this is something I just recently came across. People season their rice. It makes a lot of sense to season your rice. You don't just have, like, plain-ass, bland rice.
Did you... Wait, were you not, like, salting your rice or anything up until this point?
Yeah. Bro.
What kind of life have you been living?
Rice, boom. I didn't even know you're supposed to wash your rice and then you're like, wash it before.
Yes.
Put a little bit of oil, maybe some butter in there, some salt. You can put spices in your rice like turmeric or whatever. No, this is a very recent discovery of mine.
Is there rice bread?
Oh, there's definitely I don't know, because there's rice noodles. Noodles aren't bread. You could argue, I guess, that they're like stringy bread, but there's definitely rice bread. Rice crackers. Crackers are kind of bread. There's almond crackers too.
That's another question. What exactly does count as bread? Is there anything that seems like bread but doesn't count as bread?
Well, meatloaf certainly ain't bread.
So, do pastries count as bread, or are they their own thing?
See, I would say like a croissant. I would say that's bread, and I know that technically counts as a pastry. And like chocolate bread and stuff like that, I'd say that's bread.
Oh my God, rice bread is a thing.
Of course it is. Oh, like rice cakes? Or like straight up rice bread?
No, straight. Oh shit.
Okay.
Straight rice bread.
Straight rice bread.
Why?
I
kind of want to try it now, though.
It brings every culture together.
It does.
It really does. It brings us all together.
That's the thing. People literally can't agree on like anything. But the only thing that brings us together is our desire to eat sliced bread.
Bro, bread is key. It's so key. It's so delicious.
All I remember at some point in the past, me and a couple of my friends were discussing the concept of sandwiches and how the sandwiches come to be, because there's so many different cultures, because we all came up with bread, so obviously we all came up with like our own form of sandwiches. And the whole thing about the sandwich is traced back to somebody called the Earl of Sandwich.
The Earl of Sandwich.
The Earl of Sandwich. Apparently he was an infamous drunken gambler or something. And he was an aristocrat. So he told his maids or something to prepare for him a meal that he could eat while he was drinking or something. So that's how the whole concept of sandwiches, they say, came contemporary. I feel like maybe that's where the name sandwich comes from. But the concept of sandwiches, I feel, is just as old as society.
I feel it precedes him. Oh, for sure. Because, like, bro, think about it. You don't need a plate. You're eating your plate. It's holding it all together.
Holy shit.
You know, a sandwich, it's key. It's like, it's all there, handheld, takes the mess away for you.
Bro, imagine somebody who wasn't familiar with the idea of bread just pulls up to some foreign person's house, just sees them start eating their plates with their food, just blows their mind.
And it tastes good too.
It tastes good.
Damn. Bro, the one time I did that, I was in Norway and this guy was making like soup. It was freezing.
When did you go to Norway?
I went to Norway to visit my girlfriend after spring semester. She was studying England. And no, well, obviously Norway is not in England. I said when she was studying England.
Yeah.
We went to Norway separately. I just wanted to say that for the record.
Norway is not in Britain. Please don't think it is. Please.
Yeah, please no. And this guy's like has a little soup stand and he made edible soup cups. And I was like, okay, super sussed about it, right? Because how well can that actually hold up? So he like puts this cup together. He like kind of burns it a little bit on the inside. That way it holds liquid. I was able to hold my soup in that soup cup for like 20 minutes, you know, a solid 20 minutes. Didn't leak, didn't bulge, didn't break or anything. And it's like exactly like an ice cream cone, bro. You're drinking your soup out of your soup cup. And then as you're going lower, you just kind of like eat it. You eat the cup. And bro, but the cup tasted good. Like the cup tasted good. I was like, what? We've actually got here? And it's working?
Speaking of using bread, the whole thing, the concept of bread bowls.
Oh, Panera, fuck me up.
See, Panera bread, don't love it that much, but it's pretty good. I was in New York on my way back to school from Boston. I had just gotten off the bus. This was last winter. It's cold as hell. I'm moving through New York. I'm trying to get to Penn Station, dragging this big suitcase through New York, and I have to use the bathroom. So I stop in Panera Bread, and I'm like, guys, please, can I use your bathroom? And the girl who's working the counter just looks me up and down, tired as hell, covered in snow, obviously cold. And then she looks me in the eye, and without an ounce of pity, the bathroom is for paying customers only. And I got angry. I was so mad. I'm like, yo, give me some mac and cheese with a bread bowl. And I left my suitcase in line, went to the bathroom, and came back.
Honestly, you pick something good though. Usually I just buy like a water or something.
True.
But honestly, that's the way to do it. Go all in on the mac and cheese and bread bowl.
So I had that mac and cheese and bread bowl, and I was thinking, because I'm eating like the mac and cheese at first, and I'm like, okay, this is cool, but like, what's the point of the bread bowl? And then something possessed me, some foreign higher power. I just lifted the entire bread bowl up into my hands while it was still full of mac and cheese, and just bit into it like a sandwich.
Oh, oh, wait, that was probably crazy good,
bro. It was so good.
Oh man, like a mac and cheese sandwich.
Yeah. Wait, is that not how you're supposed to use them?
I always just ate all the soup out of it. I never got mac and cheese in it, and then would just eat this like soggy bread bowl. Bro, but you're onto something, like, so grilled cheese, one of the apex uses of bread.
Absolutely.
And then to mac and cheese it. So I remember when I was in Samoa one time, the first meal that they gave me when I got there was like a slice of bread and a can of spaghetti. And they were like,
what?
Yes. I was just as confused as you were.
A can of spaghetti.
Can of spaghetti, 2 slices of bread that they toasted. And I was like, okay. And I was eating the spaghetti separate from the bread. She was like, no, you put the spaghetti on the bread. You make a spaghetti bread sandwich. And at first I was like, okay, this is exactly why y'all are the most obese country in the world. Which they are. And then I was like, all right, bro, I have to try this. And so if you actually mix like spaghetti, canned spaghetti, in between two pieces of bread, and you kind of make like a grilled cheese out of it, it's fire. It's very good. It's very filling. It's delicious.
There's no limits to what you can put in between two slices of bread. The limit of a sandwich is your imagination.
It's infinite.
No. Okay, so this one summer, I don't know if I still have a picture of it on my phone, but me and my brother, we'd make these crazy sandwiches. We'd get some toast, we'd butter,
right.
Then we'd put Nutella on one slice of the toast and peanut butter
So
on another.
good.
Then we put a waffle on top of it. Then we put maple syrup on the waffle, another waffle on another slice of bread, maybe put honey on that one. Then we'd stack some ham,
Wait.
some bacon,
Okay.
some eggs, sausages. Literally, we take the entire breakfast table, just put it in between two slices of bread.
How the fuck?
See, this is why I was so fat as a kid, because I ate these things without fear. Like my mom would see what we were doing and just actually pause. Because like my mom's a doctor and stuff, or so, she's like a doctor, so I assume she was thinking, how are these my kids? How do they not care about their health at all? But I have no regrets. Obviously, I don't eat sandwiches like that anymore. But sometimes I think back on those things and I'm wondering if it was a mistake. Absolutely was not a mistake.
No.
Would not regret it. Do not regret it. Would not change a single thing. If I could change anything, I'd probably put more shit in the sandwich.
Here's my question. So you said you ate that sandwich with no fear, right?
No fear.
Have you ever been like intimidated by a meal put in front of you?
Yes, I have.
What was it?
So, was it 2 or 3 years ago? Me and my family were staying at this hotel, and you know, I wasn't that hungry. So I decided, okay, let me get some like seafood pasta. And I remember, because usually whenever you get like, you order like anything with seafood at these restaurants, it's really like dinky, so small, so tiny.
Yeah.
That's why I prefer to cook my own food than to eat out. My food came later than everybody else's. And they ordered stuff that's like a lot more complex than mine. And I'm just thinking to myself, bro, it's some pasta. What could possibly take them so long, bro? This man comes out with this big plate, this massive plate, piled high with seafood. I couldn't even see the pasta.
Whoa.
And it's a while. And he just puts it down in front of me, grates the cheese over it, looks at me like, enjoy. And I saw the smile in his face as he looked me in the eyes. He was like, yep. Like, he looked at me in the eyes. He said to me completely silently, young man, you have made a mistake. And so literally it's me sitting there, my family are enjoying my food. Maybe it's like 15 minutes into the meal and I am struggling.
Yeah.
Every bite of pasta I took was like 50 rapid fire punches to the face. But it tasted so good and I refused to stop. By the time we were done, by the time everybody else was done, I was still the only one eating. And by the time I was done, I just could not move.
I don't blame you.
I was just leaning back in my chair. Like, you know, the itis full food coma. I was absolutely done.
Totally torched. But that's how you know you had a good meal.
Oh, for sure.
Like, if it's good enough to really put yourself through that, if it's good enough to suffer, it's a good meal.
What about you? What's your most intimidating meal?
Bro, I remember I ordered this, there's this like place I wanted to try. It was, I want to say like Peruvian food. And I ordered this like rice. And it was just like a fish rice. So it was just, you know, I was expecting to get like, I spent like $12 for it. You know, for fish, I was like, okay, it's probably not going to be that much. And bro, I get this full carton. Like, you know, like how they have serving trays?
Yeah.
I got a serving tray of rice. There was a full lobster in there. There was 3 full shrimps in there.
$12?
For $12, bro. That's the thing. That was like a family meal. Seriously, great prices. And I still eat there because the prices are awesome.
Bro, you gotta take me to that place.
I'm totally gonna take you there. But bro, I never just sat down. Like, you know, you're eating at the restaurant and then my friend ordered something. I ordered this and I'm presented with a tray. A full ass tray of rice with a lobster and like 3 shrimp or prawn or whatever. I couldn't do it. I couldn't even eat it. That was too much. It was way too much, but it was so good. I saw defeat in that lobster's eyes.
You saw defeat. that whole thing of them like cooking lobsters alive, and everybody saying, "Oh, they don't feel any pain," and honestly, you can't convince me that you're boiling something alive and they don't feel any pain.
Yeah, that's just a lie.
Because I remember I was watching Gordon Ramsay cook, and he killed the lobster before he started boiling it. And I went down in this entire internet rabbit hole of, is it ethical to boil lobsters alive? I did not come to a conclusion, but I think it's not.
I'd agree with you.
The big thing, though, I feel like for bread as an accompaniment is that sometimes if the bread is too good, it overshadows the meal. So biscuits, right? Biscuits count as bread, right?
Oh.
Red Lobster biscuits are like I could literally just eat those forever, like the rest of my life. I wouldn't care if I died early because they just taste so good.
Dude, you said biscuits, and like biscuits just have this power to just instantly warm the soul.
Literally.
Like somehow biscuits skip the stomach and actually just go straight into your very essence. They go straight into your soul, the persona of the human.
When I was in military school, we'd wake up at 5 a.m., go for the jogging, all the marching, all the singing, blah, blah, blah. I was so mad. I remember this one march that I like fell behind because like my leg was messed up. But like, I didn't know my leg was messed up at the time. And then this was back when I was like way more out of shape too. My drill instructor, he gets so fucking mad. He makes me like stand with some other kids at the front of the platoon. He calls us, we're weak bodies. Anytime he asks us to like say our name, like weak body 1 reporting. And like, damn. I was out there, like I'm like 14, you know, my confidence is fragile. I'm feeling angry as fuck. But his drill instructor's wife, she was the chef for the academy, and I remember she made biscuits that morning. That morning when I was angry, like I was getting yelled at like in the cafeteria, and I remember taking one bite of those biscuits, and all my anger just went away. And I'm like,
heals the soul.
Literally, just like I'm munching on these biscuits, and I'm like, you know what? My drill instructor works hard. I could afford to put a little bit more effort in. Food can literally just make you a better person.
Dude, it does. A good meal, I don't know. There's something about it. Like a really good meal, it's life-changing, mood-altering.
Oh, no, 100% mood altering. Like, you know, it's like they say in the Snickers commercials, you're not you when you're hungry.
It's true.
No, I move insane when I'm hungry sometimes, honestly.
Yeah. Because
my sleep schedule has been messed up for a lot of college. So sometimes, like a couple weeks back, I just woke up. It's like 4 a.m. I went downstairs and I ate an entire box of pasta, just like right from the pot. Literally cooked the pasta, made the sauce in a separate pan, just dumped everything back into the pot, and I just picked it up by the hand. I was just eating it straight out the pot. Ate the whole thing, just put it back in the dishwasher the next morning. So nobody could see my shame.
Bro, I always eat like portion wise. I always eat for like 2. You know how it says like can feed 2 to 3 people? That's bullshit. I think like, unless you're like a very small person, there's no way that's the case.
Like literally most of this stuff I can put away an entire pack of Oreos in a couple of minutes.
Easy, and not even like sweat.
Like not at all. I can down an entire pizza. That's the thing. People were like you're in a group of like 4 people, like, oh, like let's order a pizza, and it's like a pizza, just one,
2 for 4 people. At least. Bro. Should do 5.
Especially when it's like smaller pizzas, like Domino's.
Yeah.
Literally just order a pizza for everybody.
Cheese and sauce on bread. That's a pizza.
I saw this post on Instagram talking about no matter how hard you work in your life, no matter what you achieve, you're never gonna be as famous as cheese.
Damn. That's a fact.
And dude, cheese on bread just be hitting.
It's stellar combo.
It's like the most ambitious. It's not the most ambitious. It's just the best anime crossover, literally. Do you ever imagine? Have you ever made your own bread?
The closest I ever come was I tried to make pancakes from scratch one time, and I made bread. I straight up wrote that shit tasted like blueberry bread. That was not a pancake. That's exactly what happened. Dude, have you ever made bread?
No. The closest I've ever come to making bread was the one time I made a cake. And honestly, I don't even know how I pulled that off because I put cereal in it.
Cereal bread.
Like half, like I put like half a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch in this loaf of bread. Or in this cake, whatever it was, and it just tasted so good. I didn't bother questioning it. I didn't doubt myself.
Don't doubt yourself. You gotta go all in when you're doing stuff like that.
That's another thing. You have to suspend all shame and disbelief when you're cooking. That's what makes it a million times more enjoyable.
Oh, for real.
Dude, I enjoy cooking very much. I don't like cooking when there's a lot of people there though, because people must be telling you to do shit while you're in the kitchen, and you're like, bro, you're just ruining my mood. Why you gotta act this way?
Cooking is a vibe. I love cooking for people. I love cooking for myself. Love eating shit.
Dude, no, cooking for other people is great, but cooking with other people, nah.
Yeah? Well, yeah, I could see that. It's like
the whole like too many chefs spoil the broth thing. Like, cause I feel like everybody kind of has like their own way of cooking.
Oh, for real. For real.
No, I had a friend sophomore year that he would just get absolutely destroyed at night.
Okay.
And I lived here in Lower West. And I lived in Lower West. Well, you guys don't know where that is. But this one night, I can't even remember the series of events. He texts me and it's like, yo, I made fried rice. And it's like, bro, it's 2 a.m. It's like, so do you not want fried rice? I'm like, no, I'm coming over right now.
Yeah.
So I go over to his house, which is only a couple of doors down, and he's like, yo, here, have some rice. And he hands me like, you know, a cookout style plate. How you know, like when there's another plate covering the plate, that's how you know there's mad food on it.
Oh, for real.
And bro, it was just, that might have been the most immaculate fried rice I've ever encountered in my life. This man, and like, let me explain, this man was so drunk. Like, I don't know what it is. Somebody said the secret to a good fried rice recipe is actually being able to cook it drunk. And I thought that was cap until that night.
Damn.
And like, this dude's white too. He's not like Asian or anything.
He just nailed it.
He just finessed it. And and the worst part is that he's transferred out, and I only got to eat that fried rice once. And sometimes when I'm hungry at night, I just think about it. I'm just hoping that maybe he'll just text me, yo, you want some fried rice?
Some fried rice?
Just waiting for that text that's never gonna come.
Dude, fried rice is honestly crazy good. It's a good option.
And it's so easy to make too. You can literally put together a bunch of whatever with some rice, put it in a pan and fry it, and it's fried rice.
Fried rice, and it's delicious.
It's crazy how many facets of life bread is really involved in if you think about it, because our breakfast is bread, our lunch, bread, dinner, bread, beer. All of you who like to drink beer, bro, that's just liquid bread, my nigga.
You're having bread on bread for dinner, bro, or whenever you're having it.
Bread encircles the world, my friends. Think about it. One of the most memorable stories about Jesus, Big J, is how he took 2 loaves of bread.
You just said.
I said Big J.
Big J. Don't remember,
bro.
Big J and the loaves.
Bro, Big J and the loaves.
I'm gonna. Yo, Jesus straight up gonna smite you when you pray.
Oh.
Yo, I pray to the Big J.
Hey, yo, Big J was good, bro.
Oh, man. Maybe he appreciates it. Maybe he's a homie.
Maybe he is. After all, Jesus literally looked at this crowd during the Sermon on the Mount. They gave him his fish. Then he was like, nah, this isn't enough. And he addressed the crowd and he says, by the grace of our Father, let's get this bread. Oh, man.
Well, this has been the bread episode. This is the real. This is it.
So remember, all you listeners out here, remember the bread encircles the world. If you're angry at somebody, maybe eat some bread. Maybe give them some bread. Don't poison it. Maybe you should. Who knows?
Bake your essence into bread. Make some you bread.
Make some you bread. Life is the oven and you are the bread. All right. Thank you, as always, for joining us as we talk about these ridiculous topics. I'm 0.5 of your host, Sele.
And I'm the other 0.5, Marcello.
And together we make one half-decent host. And this has been the Low High Podcast. And we just want you to remember, if you're feeling high, if you're feeling low, you've always got a place to go. Thank you.
And obtain this grain.